Welcome to today's Explainer. We've got a fascinating lineup for you today. We're connecting the dots between Apple's looming hardware struggles, a massive top-to-bottom Ethereum overhaul, some wild next-gen security threats, and trillion-dollar crypto milestones. It sounds like a lot, but I promise, by the time we wrap up, you're going to see exactly how all these pieces fit together.
Real quick, here's the agenda for today. First, innovation meets reality with Apple and Ethereum. Second, next-gen security threats covering crypto wallets and AI. And finally, digital finance matures, looking at Bitcoin and stablecoins. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Innovation meets reality. We're looking at the friction of building tomorrow's tech, both in hardware and crypto.
So Apple's highly anticipated foldable iPhone Ultra is hitting some serious manufacturing bottlenecks. They're only projected to make maybe 500,000 to 1 million units in the third quarter. Compare that astronomical $2,000 plus price tag and super limited supply to the foldable options from Samsung and Google. Those are readily available, a lot cheaper, and already in their mature generations. Supply chain analyst Ming-Chi Kuo actually hit the nail on the head here. He points out that early adopters could be stuck waiting 1 to 2 months for delivery. We're literally looking at one of the biggest product shortages in Apple's history. And because of this insane scarcity, early units could fetch up to $3,000 on the black market. The complex hinge mechanisms and those foldable displays are just creating a perfect storm of production headaches. Now, contrast that immediate physical hardware bottleneck with what's happening in the digital realm. While Apple is battling these Q4 shipping delays, Ethereum is executing a massive 4-year lean roadmap. They are completely rebuilding their foundational software infrastructure from the ground up by 2030. The absolute linchpin of this entire technical overhaul is the integration of Starks. This tech is a real game changer. It slashes transaction verification times from seconds down to mere milliseconds. But maybe even more importantly, it future-proofs the network against quantum computers, which, let's be honest, is the looming threat keeping cryptographers awake at night. By hitting these 4 foundational pillars, Ethereum is basically answering Wall Street's exact demands. Major financial institutions need transactions finalized in under 4 seconds, and they absolutely need a network that can handle over 100,000 transactions per second during peak trading. They're essentially building a system to rival traditional networks like Visa, all while keeping base layer privacy intact. Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin actually summed it up perfectly. This isn't just some minor software patch. If executed correctly over the next 4 years, this transformation is aiming to create the global financial infrastructure for the 21st century.
Moving on to Section 2, next-gen security threats. We're diving into crypto wallets and AI malware.
Of course, rapid innovation inevitably brings new vulnerabilities, right? If you hold any crypto, you definitely want to pay close attention here. There's a critical vulnerability out there nicknamed Illbloom, and it is not just theoretical. It's already allowed attackers to drain $5 million from users across Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. So do a quick mental self-assessment right now. Was your wallet created before 2024 using web tools? Or maybe it was generated instantly without asking for your manual input, like those random mouse movements that create entropy. If so, your seed phrase might be highly predictable to hackers. They literally just run an algorithm, guess it, and boom, your funds are gone. The CoinSpec security team is warning that this is one of the most serious vulnerabilities they've seen in recent years. If you meet any of those criteria we just went over, you need to generate a brand new hardware or updated software wallet right away. And please, do not reuse your old seed phrase. Transfer your assets immediately, because sitting on it just increases your risk by the hour. Switching gears from crypto to artificial intelligence, researchers have uncovered something called Skill Cloak. You can think of this as a digital Trojan horse custom-built for the AI age. It essentially wraps malicious code inside a completely harmless-looking outer layer that tricks security scanners, and it only drops the disguise and reveals its true destructive nature the exact second an AI agent executes it. The evasion rates for this thing are honestly terrifying. Because it hides its payload until runtime, it successfully bypasses traditional static and signature-based security systems over 90% of the time. Even machine learning detection totally misses it 88% of the time, simply because it looks exactly like legitimate code right up until it's too late. So the only way to combat this adversarial arms race is to completely change how we play defense. We have to start using runtime monitoring and behavioral analysis. Yeah, it adds about a 10 to 15% performance overhead, but by monitoring what the code actually does inside a sandbox environment, we can stop suspicious tasks, like, say, suddenly trying to access sensitive files,
completely dead in their tracks.
Okay, on to our final section, Section 3. Digital finance matures. Let's talk Bitcoin and stablecoins. Let's zoom out and look at the macro-level financial maturation. It really proves these digital systems aren't just experiments anymore. Bitcoin has triumphantly reclaimed that $63,000 territory, and it was driven by a massive reversal. A 10-day ETF outflow streak was snapped by $224 million in fresh institutional money coming in. As the price spiked, it triggered a massive short squeeze, wiping out $150 million in bearish positions and catching a lot of traders completely off guard.
But honestly, while Bitcoin always grabs the headlines, the real star of this financial shift is a staggering number, $1.79 trillion. That is the record-breaking transaction volume stablecoins hit in just the single month of June 2026. This is absolute proof that stablecoins have graduated from experimental tech into a core mainstream financial tool. To really put that magnitude into perspective, in just one single month, stablecoins processed roughly half of what the entire Visa network processed in 3 months. That is just wild to think about. It truly highlights the immense trillion-dollar scale of today's digital economy.
And this explosive near six-fold volume increase over just 3 years? Definitely not a fluke. It's being driven by undeniable real-world utility. We're talking 24/7 cross-border settlements that are way cheaper and faster than traditional wire transfers. Plus, you have citizens in emerging markets fighting hyperinflation, using stablecoins right on their smartphones to secure vital access to the US dollar.
Which leaves us with one final critical thought for today's explainer. From Apple's hardware friction and stealthy AI malware, to Ethereum's massive institutional overhaul and stablecoins moving literal trillions of dollars, global finance and tech are maturing at a breakneck pace. The traditional rails are actively being replaced as we speak. So the question is, how are you adapting your own strategies to stay ahead of the curve? Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next one.